I used to be fat and I do not want obesity for you, sis. I don't want it for you. I lived it. Trust me, I don't want it for you. So if you're finding that losing weight is hard, keep watching this video.
Hello, stranger. It's been a minute since we last kicked.
I've had a weight problem my entire adult life, and honestly, it was probably starting at my late teens. My problem that led me to obesity was my overconsumption of food, and for a lot of us, that reigns true. So in today's video, let's have a hard conversation talking about how intuitively eating may not be right for you. But before we get into today's video, if you've never seen my face before, hey girl, hey, my name is Janae and I make a lot of content focused on fitness, wellness, and self-development and helping you and I live our best healthy and active lives. So if that sounds like something you're into, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Make sure you're following me on TikTok and Instagram. I post a lot of different content over there. Give this video a big thumbs up and comment down below and let me know, what type of eater are you? Like, are you into intuitively eating? Has it worked for you? Or do you have to weigh out your food, calorie track, macro track? Like, I'm more of the latter and I'm gonna discuss why in today's video. So like I said, I had a weight management issue my entire adult life. And it honestly started about 18, 19 years old. I grew up in New York City, the Bronx specifically, and we did not have any cars. We didn't have a license. We did public transportation or we walked. I played sports in high school, but the moment I stopped playing sports in high school, mind you, I also worked at McDonald's like most teens do, I started to pack on weight. I was at my smallest right after high school, and not even a year later, as I was trying to get into the military, I had packed on, I don't even know how much weight, but I knew I was busting out of my jeans. And I definitely had the classic signs of PCOS with the facial hair, but we didn't know what those things were back then. I'm 36 now. We definitely didn't know that when I was 19. What saved me during that time was that I was young and I was active and I lived in a city that pretty much forced you to be active, but my issues wasn't my activity level. It was my consumption of food, an overconsumption of food. Now, my weight gaining issues started at 22 when I gave birth to our first child, and it has been going on ever since then, to the point where I had gained a massive amount of weight and I reached 287 pounds. Now, from 2011 till 2023, I did all of the things they say to do. I calorie tracked, I macro tracked, I did every single diet, whether it was toxic or healthy. I moved my body, I did all of the things, and I still could not understand why I couldn't keep my weight off because I kept dropping weight and then I would gain it right back. I ended up getting weight loss surgery back in March of 2023. And between that and taking a GLP-1 that I started last year in April of 2024, I have lost 125 pounds along with exercising and eating right. Now, here is the thing that I learned about my journey, because if you don't learn from your journey, you're going to end up back where you were at. And I learned that I cannot intuitively eat because my problem with food wasn't my food choices. It wasn't the fact that I was eating sweets and chips and junk and fast food and all of this stuff. Those things were contributing factors because I did consume that stuff, but that was not my problem. And that's not a problem for a lot of us. My problem was my overconsumption of food, even healthy food. Yes, even healthy food. And a lot of people like to joke and say, you can't gain weight over broccoli. Well, technically, yes, you can. You can, because at the end of the day, at a foundational level, weight loss, weight gaining, and weight management is calories in versus calories out. No matter what those calories are, you can lose weight still eating junk food if you're under eating your calories, and you can gain weight even if you're eating healthy food. And I probably could have figured that out and probably not even needed weight loss surgery. But at that time, I was desperate to lose weight like a lot of us were. I was desperate and I didn't have the knowledge like I do now. So this is why I'm putting you on, sis. So me learning that I had an overconsumption of food problem, well, I knew that that was going to constantly be a struggle even after dropping 125 pounds and hopefully counting. But I knew that this was going to be, or it's going to be, a continuous problem for me, honestly, for the rest of my life. And here's why. Now, I got the gastric sleeve. They cut out 80% of my stomach. And in comparison to a lot of other people, I still live a very normal life. I eat a lot. My portion sizes are still a lot in comparison to other bariatric patients. My stomach is made of steel. There's nothing that makes me sick. I can still tolerate all normal foods. Sometimes I actually get sick when it comes to the healthy stuff, like eating raw vegetables and stuff like that. And like I mentioned earlier, I am on a GLP-1. I still am. I do plan on coming off of it soon when my supply ends. But even with a GLP-1, it's supposed to suppress the food noise. It's supposed to give you appetite suppression. Well, those two things never end up happening to me. It's like I'm a super user when it comes to both GLP-1 and weight loss surgery. I don't experience the normal symptoms that most people experience, whether it's good or bad. And so that tells me, looking on my experience, looking at my journey, that tells me I'm always going to have an overconsumption of food problem because I can eat around my tools if I want to, which means even after all of the hard work I've done, I can possibly gain all of my weight back and then some if I am not careful. And that leads me into intuitively eating and why it may not be the best thing either starting off or maybe forever for a lot of us. Now let's chat about intuitively eating and why it is not an approach that I would recommend for somebody who is starting their weight loss journey or who has had a very hard time on their weight loss journey. When we think of intuitively eating, it means we're just focusing in on our intuition. Well, our intuition is what led us to be obese in the first place. It has led us to be overweight in the first places. I'm sorry. That is the reality. Something with our intuition and that fork and that plate is broken and it made us overweight. And you may be saying to yourself, I don't want to calorie track. I don't want to macro track. I don't want to weigh my food. I don't want to have to be a slave to these things for the rest of my life. Well, maybe let's not think about the rest of our lives here. Let's start off with mini goals. We know what happens when we intuitively eat, right? So we have to try to find a different approach, correct? If we want to be successful, it's going to take a bit of sacrifice. Intuitively eating requires a type of discipline that up to this point, we haven't shown ourselves and we haven't mastered. Intuitively eating requires proper judgment of the foods that you're consuming. Intuitively eating also requires accountability of how much it is that you are consuming, no matter what it is that you're consuming. So for example, and I want you to test this out for yourself, what is a handful to you? Because we sit there and we may dig into a bag of chips, a bag of popcorn, or whatever the case may be, and we're only consuming a handful. The next time you want to just grab a handful of something, now go get that food scale and weigh out what that handful is, what your mind think a handful is. See how many calories that handful actually is. What you'll find is that it's most likely 2.5 the serving sizes that it says on the back of that bag. And now you have eaten 2.5 times the calories that you really wasn't planning for. So you thought this little scoop, it's only 100 calories. Now you done ate 250 calories worth of junk that's not even going to satiate you, which means in about 45 minutes, you'll be going back to the kitchen, mindlessly eating again. Figuring out discipline, proper judgment, and accountability when it comes to food, especially when you're on a weight loss journey, is a developed skill that you need to develop. It's not something that just happens just because, okay, today is Monday and I decided that I'm going to be on a weight loss journey. No, sis, it don't happen like that. It don't. That's how you end up in the cycle of overly restricting yourself and then binging again. So if you're wanting to start off on a weight loss journey, then it's time to properly educate yourself when it comes to macros, calories, weighing your food, calories in, calories out, calorie deficit. And I understand this sounds like a lot, but lucky for you, I have done videos talking about these things, breaking down these things. I have a weight loss grocery list to make it easier so that you can volume eat. That way you're getting used to eating healthier. I have a video talking about how to figure out your calorie deficit. And I also have a weight loss guide up here on my YouTube channel. I will link them all in the cards above for you. Now, what about the rest of us? You have been on a weight loss journey for a while. You have learned from your journey. You understand that overconsumption is an issue for you. And sometimes you feel like you're still going to binge out and pig out on food. Is intuitively eating for you? That is only a question that you can answer, but I'm going to say for myself that it's probably right now not a thing for me. And I was a year into my weight loss journey after weight loss surgery when I discovered this, and I felt very jaded about this epiphany that I had that, you know what, I'm probably going to have to macro track and calorie track and weigh my food and, you know, do all these things. I'm probably going to have to always do that. And I felt really jaded behind that. Like I could not understand why. But my problem is overconsumption of food. And I don't even think I came to that realization yet, which is probably why I felt jaded. But there's a doctor, Dr. Jenny, that I follow on TikTok. I will link her stuff right here. She is absolutely amazing. It has been a part of my weight loss journey since before weight loss surgery. But I remember she did a video talking about weighing her food. She suffered with some weight issues, not at the majorly obese level that I have, but you know, all of the girls, they have their issues. And somebody asked her about tracking the foods. And she's like, you know, it doesn't take much effort to weigh your food and track your food. Like you're putting it in a bowl on the counter. What's the difference with you putting the scale on the counter, then the bowl on top, and then your food in there, and then looking at the number, and then taking 2 seconds, you're on your phone already, taking 2 seconds to plug that number into an app like the 1,000 other apps that you have on your phone. And I'm like, she didn't say it like that. That's me saying it like that. But when I thought about what she said, I'm like, you know what? It really doesn't take that much effort. Like, we're talking about maybe an extra 30 seconds out of my day every time I eat. Like, really, in the grand scheme of things, what is that doing? It's not hurting me. There's nothing that I'm doing that's hurting me. Now, it was at one point hurting me mentally. It was taking me through a toll, and I think it's because I had such a jaded mindset. That's why it was hurting me mentally. But when I heard this TikTok of hers, I did a mindset shift. It like, sometimes you just have to hear it from somebody else. It like really like kind of shook me in that moment. Like, girl, it's not that serious. It's not that bad. It's not that serious, and it's not killing you. And so it's like a light bulb had went off. Like somebody hit the switch, and I'm like, I can do this. It's not that serious. And the moment I made that mindset shift was the moment I stopped feeling jaded around having to track my calories. Because at the end of the day, if I'm being honest with myself and holding my own self accountable, then I know overconsumption of food is always going to be my issue. How do I combat that? By understanding how much it is that I'm putting in my mouth, and also paying attention, like using one of these watches and stuff, how much activity I'm doing day to day, and then being consistent with the both of those things to stay exactly where I want to be at. Because the end all be all goal for me is to stay healthy and to stay at a healthy weight. And if that's the same thing for you, then why not do the hard things or the perceived hard things that it takes to get there and to stay there? You already know what it feels like to stay in that obese body. We already know that life. Why not do the thing that's going to at least, even if it sucks, because living that life sucked. So even if this small thing sucks, we also know the positive benefits that it's going to have on our mental health and on our body and on our longevity of life. So why not do it? And when I made that mindset shift, it made things so much easier for me. I was able to accept my reality. And so if you watch my vlog series, The Discipline Diaries, where I'm showing you guys how I was living my life first in weight loss and now in weight maintenance, I talk about how I'm going to be moving into weight maintenance and what does that look like for me. And again, the idea of intuitively eating came to mind. And so I kind of relaxed for the month of May, which is probably why I didn't see any videos from me, because I was not being accountable to myself and I was not about to show y'all that, because people are not going to show their bad times on the camera. But with me being honest with you all and myself, I was testing out weight maintenance and what that will look like for me and intuitively eating. And what I found was it's very easy for me to fall back into lazy habits. And I love working out. I love the way I eat. I love these things. And I also like not doing anything and not moving my body and being lazy. Like it's not something, I'm telling you, it's not something that just switches off. Like, I've been overweight for 12 years. I've only been successful these last 2 years. And so some habits are hard to kill, okay? Some habits are very hard to kill. And so for the month of May, I barely moved my body. I was not really tracking my food. And then the bad food started to creep in. That's how it ends up happening for me, even though I don't really eat shitty. The bad food ends up creeping back in when I'm not doing everything else. And then I started to see my weight creep up. Creep up, creep up, creep up, creep up. But not only my weight creeped up, I felt crappy. I felt terrible. Like, now I'm paying attention to not only my weight, but my body, period, and what my body is telling me. My body was screaming at me like, girl, what is it that you're doing? And so I say all that to say, now that I am in weight maintenance and I'm no longer focused on losing weight, I have decided that, again, intuitively eating, after this little test of a month of May, intuitively eating is not in the cards for me right now. And I am finally okay with that, because again, I did the mindset work and the shift that it took for me to accept that fate. And now I feel better again. I'm back to moving my body. I'm back to tracking and counting and, all of the things. And I'm eating healthy again, and all of the things that I used to do that made me feel better, that made my mind and my body feel better. And I don't know if one day in the future I'm going to be able to intuitively eat finally. I don't know, but I stopped looking at the rest of my life like we normally like to do. We like to look at everything, when you finally make it to that big goal of losing 150 pounds or whatever the case may be, instead of taking it bit by bit. I'm only 36. I have the rest of my life to figure out what the rest of my life will look like. But for right now, in this moment, intuitively eating is not in the cards. And who knows, maybe 6 months from now, it could be. Maybe a year from now, maybe 3, maybe never. And that is okay, because I'm doing the things to actually lose the weight and keep the weight off. So now we talked a lot about intuitively eating on your weight loss journey. Well, here are some other tips that will help tracking your food, counting your food, and being in a calorie deficit, because that's pretty much what it is, be a little bit easier for you. Be a nerd when it comes to your body, because we all look different. So for example, I realized that I have Hashimoto's disease. It's an autoimmune disease. It may one day lead to hypothyroidism. Because I have that, I started to become a nerd when it came to my body, because I also started realizing that I'm having these weird symptoms that's flaring up, like weight management issues, like night sweats, like weird periods, like, just these different types of symptoms. And I talked about this in my AIP video, so I will leave that in the cards above as well if you're interested in the AIP diet that I'm doing. But I started paying attention to my body, pairing it with my autoimmune disease, and then figuring out things that would help me feel better, that will maybe put my Hashimoto symptoms into remission because I have become a nerd to my body because I stopped focusing solely on the scale and started thinking about my whole entire life and my whole entire body and being well-rounded when it came to my journey. See, when you do things like that, then you start to realize that it's not just this one little thing. It's gonna take everything. It's gonna take everything to have sustainable weight loss and weight management for the rest of your life. And now that you know that you're going to be in a calorie deficit and that you're a nerd to your body, introduce whole foods into your life. I'm telling you, the moment I started doing that, things started getting better because I stopped eating so many inflammatory foods, especially with me being on this diet, and started paying attention to things that my body was saying that it doesn't like it doesn't like all of this processed stuff. And I started eating whole foods. One, it was easier for me to eat a high protein diet. It was easy for me to eat high fiber. That protein and fiber combination is the key to being satiated if you're dealing with overly feeling hunger. But not only that, when I'm eating more whole foods and I'm getting more vitamins and nutrients into my body, my cravings for things and all of this stuff started to go away because I am not nutrient deficient in anything. Most of the time when you're craving something, you're actually deficient in some type of nutrient. And like I said, back in May, I was kind of bugged out a little bit. My weight started going up. I think the highest I saw it was at 172. And that was a significant weight gain. It was 9 pounds higher than my lowest weight of 162. And so I just started the AIP diet. I am a week into it and I am back down to 163. And I'm still eating my same calories. I didn't over restrict myself. I honestly just started back with my workout routine. I gave myself a week to really get adjusted to the diet. And so I'm eating my same calories. I'm actually eating high carb. I'm getting my protein in. I'm doing a little bit better with my water. And my weight just dropped off because I started doing the right things for my body. Speaking of workout, doing things that you actually like to do that is going to make you stay consistent is going to help you with your weight loss journey. And so I know it is hot outside now. It's nice out. The sun is out. Take advantage of this time. Now is the time to start building those good habits when it comes to working out, figuring out what it is that you like to do and how you like to actually move your body. And that may look different for all of us. Shoot, it looks different for me depending on the time of the year. Right now, I'm not really fooling with the gym. I'm going to keep going to the gym because it's going to be beneficial for my running, but I find myself being outside more, running, hiking. That's what I love during this time. But now is the time to start building those habits so that when the winter does come, you're not having to build habits when you actually really want to stay in the house. By the time winter comes, you would have had 3 months to have good habits and in a routine. That way, when fall comes and then winter comes and that depression comes, you have something to cope with instead of food, sis. You have something like the gym to cope with because you've already built that habit. And the last thing you can do to help your weight loss journey is don't sleep on sleep and stress. Sleep and stress, those two things right there can stall you quickly. And we don't even realize it because we really don't pay attention to it as much as we should. If you need to use some type of system to actually tell you how much you're sleeping, what the quality of sleep is, I have my Garmin watch and I have my Oura Ring. They both tell me about my sleep. I love my Oura Ring more though because it tells me my body temperature, but using those pieces of technology has helped me so much because I feel like I'm in bed for 10 hours, yet I'm actually only getting 6 hours of sleep. And during those 6 hours of sleep, I'm barely in the REM cycle, which means I'm barely getting any deep sleep. So no wonder why I'm waking up and I'm still feeling tired. No wonder, because I'm getting poor quality of sleep. So it's something that I'm still working on. But that is it for today's video. I really wanted to touch on intuitively eating. I feel like on social media right now is being pushed so much, and that might not be the thing for you. You have to know you, which means you have to know what your problems with food are when it comes to your weight loss journey. And I'm telling you, for majority of us, it's not what we eat, but how much we eat. I also wanted to share some more things that may make your calorie deficit a little bit easier so that you can have sustainable and long-term weight loss. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that bell icon. That way you're notified every single time I post a new video. Make sure you're following me on TikTok and Instagram. On TikTok, I'm always hosting lives and answering your questions in a moment. And on Instagram, I'm super active in my stories. I do have a broadcast channel. They end up knowing the tea first, so make sure you're following me over there. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.
Come through and share.